Yo, what's up, fam? On this episode of the 4sight podcast, my good friend DJ Hyjak joins me to just talk about the state of the comic book industry and entertainment in general. It's a pretty lively conversation, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Hope you enjoy. Let's go.
This yeah, that's cool. Just wait for Mr. DJ Hyjak to get himself comfy.
There we go.
This is going to be a fun podcast already. Oh, this is going to be a fun podcast. So I can't wait to take the screen grabs from this one.
Take a screen grab then. Let me just take my...
No. You don't have to do all that. You don't have to do all that. All right, man. Let me intro the podcast and get this party going. It should be fun. It should be fun. We're just going to be talking for the most part. Just talking.
Yeah, okay. I don't care.
I gotta contend with the crazy eyes, and they blink. How did you? They straight up blink. Wow. All right. Let's just get going. Welcome everybody to the 4sight podcast. I am your host DKG72, better known as David Gordon, and today's show is going to be a little different from the norm. We've mostly been doing interviews and introducing you guys to new people and all that type of stuff. But sometimes the best laid plans don't always go the way we want. And I had to do a quick pivot and a little bit of an adjustment to the format. So I'd just like everybody to welcome my friend, co-host, former co-host of another podcast, the Big Fat Podcast, impresario, know-it-all, all that type of stuff, Mr. DJ Hyjak.
Well, since I'm last choice, how's it going? I understand. I see how it is.
You are not last choice, sir.
Oh, really? Really? Oh, so I was part of that best laid plans? I don't think I was.
You were. And then you weren't able to do the podcast earlier, so
Oh yeah, I did back out because you're not that high on my priorities. So.
See, that's how it's going to be today. It's all right. It's all good. Hyjak, how's it been, man?
Horrible, man. Everybody was, this thing called COVID came into our lives and changed everything. I used to go out all the time.
Did you?
But then I ended up staying at home all the time. It totally changed the way I live my life. Which is
totally changed the way you live your
Call
life.
of Duty. But now I sit at home and play Call of Duty.
Wait, what? That sounds like it's the same thing.
Total change.
Total change?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So just introduce yourself to everybody. Give a few of your credentials, which are extensive, and your superhero backstory before we get started with our roundtable version of today's podcast.
Oh, I was born to wealthy parents in Gotham, Missouri. Then one day, going to see, I'm going to get you, sucker. Somebody decided they were going to rob my parents. And lo and behold, now I'm a crime fighter who goes around at night tickling people's toes.
I thought that guy got arrested.
That's right. They thought he got arrested.
So you're saying that you're the guy
I co-founded some company, made some things. I made some things. I may or may not be responsible for the careers of many famous Black people. They sacrificed to me, and how the Illuminati works. Just gonna say,
Oh, okay. Well, I know of all the things you said, I know for sure you were instrumental in the founding of some company. They forged their own path.
Yep. It was forged.
It was forged. And so let's talk about the industry for a little bit, man, because it's going to be kind of
industry. Is it an industry that's doing well, or is it an industry that's
Well, we're going to talk about the industry that's for a minute. Yeah. It's because it's been a while since I've talked with you on audio or video anyway. So just kind of getting your feel for everything, the pulse of the industries as they were. Period, point blank. Is it me, or is or monthly's just dead?
I don't know what a monthly is. I haven't picked up a comic, if that's what you mean. No, quite some time. And when I do so, I'd rather have them digital. But that's no, don't want to piss nobody off.
Well, but that's the thing. Are we pissing people off?
Well, I don't know. It depends. Are you talking about people who actually enjoy illustrated content, or are you talking about comic book fans? Those two different things.
Are they not the same?
They're not the same. If you look at the recent put out charts, it's clearly not the same. Even though now the industry that used to shun such things as manga, YA, Dow Doki.
Edit.
Cut that in editing. This industry, this comic book industry, used to completely deny, anything, something from Dow Pilkey, that's kids stuff. That's not comics. Manga, that's not comics. Now, because they make the money, now they're comics.
Now,
so if you go by that, comics in the industry is doing peachy. Or it's talking about direct market.
Not too much. Well, that was one of the and I've been very open and honest about this. So that was one of my decisions for why I published KWAME HIGHTOWER and the Man with No Name the way I did, is because I did not want to play in the direct market anymore. We dropped in 2018, and we had several conversations leading up to that about the plan and the strategy.
Well, from what I saw, because I study a lot of the analytics from while doing the other job, and so I knew right away. I'm like, this is not going well. The market doesn't play right. And when I realized that they were totally unrealistic and nobody had any business sense. Yeah, I'm like, this is just plain going down again, because the industry goes down in flames multiple times, and it's just been hanging on by a thread. And at a time it should be at its height, because every movie is a superhero movie. Every show is a superhero show. Why isn't the industry at the highest it's ever been?
Well, I mean, I dropped around Black Panther time, and then Black Panther was the biggest movie ever, but the books itself weren't selling for.
Why didn't they switch over? I mean, let's take an example. Right now, the biggest anime of all time is Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
the movie that came out. I mean, it's the biggest animated movie ever.
Yeah, they're talking about trying to push it for an Oscar and everything.
But well, more importantly, that the performance for Demon Slayer, the TV show and the movies, reflects in the volumes. So over there, you see something hot, people watch it, and they go buy the books.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen over here. You know, Black Panther does well. The books do a small uptick, but it doesn't really help the books. It helped Black Panther as a property, but didn't push any books. So it didn't help the comics industry. Like every Marvel title, it doesn't help the comic industry because the American comic industry is bunk.
Well, that goes all the way back to the whole invention of the direct market, I think, in my opinion, and how it even came about as this way to keep all this, just because the people felt like they were getting over the vendors were getting over by selling back books, which I don't know. It seems, in hindsight, it seems like a very silly motivation for what we've come up with now. And I don't understand why we are so, why the direct market industry is so beholden to this model, which is obviously not working.
It's because it's run by people who have no business knowledge and they all want to be comic book makers. We're an enthusiast industry. We're a hobby. That's the problem. It's run by hobbyists. And when is the last time anything hobbyists run is made for good business? You know, it's like other publishing parts where it's like it's an industry. Like, even with reading going down, like people don't read like they used to. But yet books still kill it. Books with no numbers killing it. Even with things going down, even with things going to digital, books still kill it. Manga has thrived even though digital came in. It's just here because it's such an enthusiast group where they don't research, they don't advertise. I remember a few years ago where just the thought of a comic book advertising was like, why would you advertise? You're going to spend money to put an ad in a book or a TV or something? That's a waste of money. It's not going to make a difference.
Man,
no other industry thinks that.
You know, and it's funny because we came from a time when comic books were advertised on television.
Yeah, thanks to Marvel, who were the only ones doing it.
I mean, all those G.I. Joe and even the Transformers, all those books were advertised. They used to.
Yeah, now I would say thanks to Marvel, but it was also the toy company money that made that happen. Marvel didn't spend cash to do that. And I don't think the motivation when it came from Marvel, it probably came from Hasbro, who was like, hey, we need to advertise these toys. We're going to do that with these comics. Make a commercial. Or the brilliancy of back in the day when they used to have ads in comics. Think about how that reduces your cost to go out and get, like you know, there's these things called magazines. They cost about roughly the same as a comic book, but they have infinitely more content. And they do this thing called advertising, where they go and they get brands and things like that to place ads in their books. It highly reduces costs because they still sell the books. But now they've got money in to help do things like produce the books. Imagine if comics had money to produce books before they sold. So we call that Kickstarter. But Kickstarter don't work that way either.
No, Kickstarter is a totally different beast. And while I do like it for independent creators, I don't think it's the end all be all savior of the comic book industry as people say.
It's nowhere near that. It's not even that great for independent creators. Most projects on Kickstarter fail. You know, so it's like it's if you're already kind of hot, you should be able to do very well on Kickstarter. You're trading popularity for commerce. It makes sense. Patreon works the same way. If you built up some popularity, Patreon is where you should be. Or OnlyFans. I'm just putting it out there. By the way, check out my OnlyFans. Erotic content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows what I might be wearing?
There you go. There you go. And I don't want to make it sound all bad, especially but for the direct market is
Oh,
all
no, I'll
bad.
make it sound all bad. It's all bad.
But
that doesn't
like
mean comics. But that's not the same
content,
thing as comics being bad. That's the direct market.
right? Comics,
So
illustrated
now,
content.
like I said, if you're taking in everything else, comics are at a time where they should really be killing it right now. If you start paying attention to the rest of the world, you got Dow Pilkey out there. He owns the world.
Yeah.
You know, every book he puts out is a monster. And people will go, well, those are children's books. Like, those are comic books aimed at kids. One, the reason why comics market was so great before is because it was aimed at kids too. Now we like, fuck them kids.
Yeah. and
I mean, think about it. One of the biggest properties that Marvel has is X-Men. I know why they did. I know during the Fox times, Marvel went, screw X-Men. We don't care what happens there because we don't get the money. But that was a mistake, because the thing, and especially now, the thing that made X-Men so strong is, especially with that cartoon, half of these millennials and some of these Gen Yers are all grew up on the X-Men cartoon, but they don't get that when they go to look for X-Men. Instead, they get islands that have sex and mind orgies.
Yeah.
That's a lot like the X-Men that you taught them how to do. Got kids who all went up, like, we grew up on Teen Titans. Where's our Teen Titans book? They don't get what they're looking for. They do produce something similar, but when you go in, you're going to find all this other stuff that's going to drive you and make you go like, I don't know what's happening.
Wait. They do get X-Men and they do get Teen Titans. It just goes by the name of My Hero Academia.
Yes, they do get Teen Titans through I wouldn't say X-Men. They do get the Teen Titans fixed through My Hero Academia, the best superhero product being put out in the market right now.
Yeah.
Followed by One Punch Man, which I would say, like, One Punch Man shows how you can do something that's both aimed at adult and younger audiences. And, it's definitely an adult thing, but it's not heroin. I wouldn't be worried about giving that to a 10-year-old as much as like I said, giving them an X-Man where, you don't know when the next inanimate object is going to have an orgy for some strange reason.
Well, that is true. But
and let's not forget agendas, but we're not going to go there.
No, let's not go there. We'll talk about that on the later round table. But let's look broader picture. Better yet, let's shrink it down. You and I have had a lot of conversations about just being an independent creator in this space. And we've talked about mistakes that we're seeing people make. What are some things, because there are people that do listen, so what are some things that people need to consider before they even begin to create an independent comic book?
Why are you making the book? Why are you making a book? Are you actually trying to be a professional? Are you trying to be a creator? Do you want to really write or draw, or illustrate books? Is that what you really want to do? Or are you a hobbyist who has always grown up with this idea and you want to get it out into the world to share your idea? You're a hobbyist. This is your hobby. One of the biggest problems is I'd say overwhelmingly, most of the people in the industry are hobbyists. They don't really want to create. They're not really trying to be entertainers and a part of the entertainment business. That one, you need to figure that out first, because if you're a hobbyist, then you don't care about how much for your book makes. The money doesn't matter. The number of people who really see it doesn't matter that much, and it frees you up. If you want to be an honest hobbyist, this will free you up. You can have nothing but fun making your book and putting it out.
But when you do this as a business,
but you have to realize you're a hobbyist. And that way you don't get in your feelings when nobody's buying your book. Nobody looks at your book. People question your book. Those things, or the quality of your book. Because you're a hobbyist, it doesn't matter. Now, if you want to be a real person, if you want to be like a professional, and by that I mean you're in it for professional reasons. You want to make money. You want to create IP. You really want to make a living doing these books. Then you need to figure out, are you a creator or are you a worker? Because some of these people think they're creators when all they can do is work. And it's like, and if you're a worker, be okay with that too. That's fine. but understand that that's what you're doing. Nobody owes you no more than that. That's what you're doing. You're there to work. You might not own these characters. If you're okay without owning these characters, now you move to the next step. If you are a creator, you also create. Now you need to understand what is the industry. What are the hot books? Where are you trying to fit in? The American comic book industry is not like any of the others.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a bustling romance section. We don't have business comics that do well. We don't have sports comics that do well. We're mostly, in America, it's mostly superhero books. Then I would say sci-fi and horror come after that. And then then you got things that are basically just scripts for movies pretending to be comics.
Done a few of those.
Right. And if you know that, then that's what you need to focus on and head towards those directions. Or you can do even better and see what people are actually reading and buying, which is manga. And then this is also real simple. A lot of people will tell you, don't do this, but I would say, like, what's the top 20 books? That's where you want to play. That's who you want to emulate. That's what people are buying. If you want to just get in there and do business and make it somewhere, that's what you do. Emulate those top 20. Get your art right. You don't need to have a color book. Manga doesn't do color.
Man, that was like...
They outsell American comics tenfold.
That was one of our biggest back and forths. And then when we had that conversation, when I was first getting started with my book, and then I was like, damn, man, nobody cares about color.
Nobody really does. And we came up at a time where everybody's going crazy over liquid because look how they cut this book, stuff like that. That was neat, but that was a technology thing. I don't think that was a transitional thing where computers were ruling the world, and we were like, wow. But even during that time, manga was killing it, and they didn't have color.
Yeah.
We weren't paying attention to the hot books like Go-Go 13, which is one of the biggest books ever.
And that's a spy book.
One of the biggest and it's a spy book, which also shows that when people are like, it's only superheroes, like, if you step out of the American comics realm, you can go much further. And if you do something radical, like promote and advertise, that's another thing if you're trying to be a comic person. If you're trying to be independent, you need to raise money, because you need to be able to promote and advertise. Mm-hmm. You need to learn marketing. You need to learn business. And if you don't know it, you need to get people on your side that do know it.
Why is it so hard for people to kind of grasp onto that, you think?
Because they got raised in this hobbyist culture of comics, where we do things like pretend that comics are for the love, that you don't do it for yourself, that you're not doing it to make a living, that it's not a business where you need to do business things. We live in this world where we go, hey, we care more, but at the same time, we also go like, look how this creator got screwed over business-wise. It's like, well, imagine if this was something where people grew up learning business, you wouldn't have that. How many times have you heard of, I was a young lawyer and went to working in law, and I got screwed over by my law firm because they took advantage of my law skills and kept all the benefits for themselves. You don't, because people who become lawyers learn their business, they get jobs in the business, and they expect what they put in to be rewarded with money. They don't expect more outside of it. Yes. If you look at other parts of entertainment, this is normal, because people who get into entertainment, creators, tend not to be business-minded. So it's like, if you want to succeed and do well and make money, you might want to learn your business. If you just want to get in there and have fun, don't worry about it. What does it matter? You're here to have fun. Get a day job to take care of the rest.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest problem. Because I see guys all the time that are doing things like they get into it and then they're like, oh, I gotta raise the money to go into print. And I'm like, but dude, you really don't have to do all of that.
You also say the word that'll get you yelled at, which is Amazon. That solves all your print problems automatically. If you believe in what you do, if you think your book is good enough, if you think your story is good enough,
I'm a proud
do it independently, and if it's about that and not about the culture of comics or the hobby, even if it is just about the hobby, and then you want to be honest, do it through Amazon. or any other print on demand service. Amazon's even better. No matter, and people go like, well, you don't make it like you make just as much. You really do. If you really work it right and you push things and you learn the market, you do very well. But you still have to advertise. You still have to learn the rest of the business. You've just cut out one of the biggest parts of the economics when it comes to comics, which is printing
and warehousing
and distribution, honestly.
And distribution, yeah. No, I'm a proud Amazonian, man. I sing the praises of Amazon every day. I don't understand why these independent cats keep wanting to try to jump in with 30, 40,000.
No, I know why. I remember when we started when we started the company, we were at shows and we were talking to people, and we had so many people telling us like, don't fuck with Amazon. Don't do Amazon. Amazon's the big bad. They're putting comic book stores out of business. We don't need to be fucking with Amazon. Yeah, and don't do digital. Don't do digital. It's the future. We're slowly going to have to do that no matter what, like every industry. But don't do it. Don't do the thing that's good for your business. Don't do the thing that'll be good for your company. Do this because it feels better to, keep the old ways around.
Hey, don't do voice, don't do podcasts or anything like that.
Right. Which everybody's not doing. But even then, people still are reticent to do things like, hey, I'm going to put out a book. I'm just going to do it through Amazon right now. If you have an art team and you have the writer, you don't need anything else. You can go do that right now. The only thing I would say is once you did it, now you need to go find a good marketing team.
Yeah.
You're smart, and if you're able, a salesperson who can get some ads to place inside your book to cover costs to basically make it no risk. Yeah. Imagine if you're able to get a salesperson and you can get local ads. Nobody thinks about this. Just local ads from your area within your state. You could easily raise enough to fund the production of your book.
Yeah.
So if that's done, now the people working on the book don't have to worry about their next meal because it's been funded because somebody on the team raises money. Somebody on that team brings in advertising. So now you can go to Amazon and push it out. And thanks to the ad money, you have the money to pay a marketing team. So now you can go and advertise and promote, which should be easier than it's ever been.
It really is. It really is.
Before when you, especially the independent, the way you had to do this is get up and get your butt to every convention, try to go around and do some promotions at stores. And these places don't know who you are. So you're introducing yourself by going to these places.
Right.
And traveling around. Think of how much money that costs you. And how many people could do it because you got to have a day job too anyway. Who can afford it? Who has time? Now, we're digital people. Come up with the budget, come up with the plan, come up with the schedule. Hitting up Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok will allow them, especially if you're taking the time to build a fan base in the first place. Advertising on those platforms will get you the sales you need. I mean,
I find it amazing that a lot of the guys aren't using print on demand to their advantage. I find it amazing that guys aren't using podcasting, fictional podcasting to their advantage.
And that's the other thing. Sometimes my new thing and my thought is, are comics, what are comics? Is comics a kind of storytelling or are comics print?
No, it's a kind of storytelling.
Because if that's true, then you can make comics without paper or print at all. Like you said, you can go into make comic-based audio dramas. You can do animated works.
Yeah.
That you can do different formats, like running like Webtoon, which is doing insanely good in other countries, and here, but insanely good in other countries.
Right. So
half the shows on Netflix are based off Webtoons, not comics.
And these people are just they're sitting in their little apartment or whatever, and they're just doing their thing, and they're creating. To me, it's all about just creators creating and getting your idea out any way possible. And comics, of course, is probably one of the easiest mediums to do that. And to me, it should be, I don't see why guys are complaining when in the time, this is the time where it's easiest. You can, man, look, if you just.
And why are you complaining about something that doesn't cost you?
Right. Pencil, paper, you can put it up on, you can just put the comics up on Instagram right now. Like look at Marcus effing Prime. He's doing great with his little simply illustrated comic.
Well, I'll put out the net. Check out Merriweather Comics.
Yeah,
they're doing very well, especially with their creative use of the carousel platform on Instagram. And they then take those things and convert them, and now you got video, which they're rocking pretty good on YouTube, and they're doing well on TikTok.
So it's so many different ways. I mean, honestly.
Oh yeah, so many different ways to tell your story. Like there are people we know of right now that were really, really blazing hot. They had everybody coming to them, offering them stuff, and because they were so busy waiting for the man to help them out, they haven't thought, hey, what if I just put this out right now myself? I can do this and put it on Instagram. I can do this and distribute through YouTube. I already have the fan base. I have the skill. I have the community that if I need help, they'll give it to me. But I'm stuck in this thing that I've been taught by this hobbyist community that I can't do this on my own. I need the animation and TV and movie gods to come take me away and help.
No, and I think that's something that we're going to have to discuss. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back, and we're going to keep talking about this because I think we own to something, dog, and I think we need to really dig into this for the audience. So this is the 4sight Podcast. We'll be right back.
Do you need to reimagine your love? Relax and set your mind free with the Black Love Chronicles coloring book from 4sight Publishing. Color in the spaces of love, lust, commitment, and embrace true passion with the Black Love Chronicles, available on Amazon. Get your copy and recolor your happiness today.
And we're back. So this is a different look for you, sir.
What?
Wardrobe change.
What's different?
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I see what we on today. All right, see, you already own one, so I see what you on today.
I have not done drugs in like 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes.
So let's not act like a okay.
No, you better than most of us, including
I live that clean life.
So, look here, man. WandaVision. We were talking
for the analytics.
Say what now?
For the analytics.
The analytics. That show is doing gangbusters right now, and it is one of the best shows on streaming services.
I mean, right behind Bridgerton. Let's not get it twisted here.
Bridgerton. Yes, I forgot about Bridgerton. A show I have not watched, but have you watched any episodes of this show?
Hell no.
So, WandaVision is doing great, but I wonder what is WandaVision doing for the books, or do they even have any corresponding books, or does Disney even care anymore? Because I keep hearing these rumors that the mouse keeps looking at monthly books like, why are we doing this?
Well,
why are we dealing with this?
Well, once again, they're just an IP farm for them, and they love the IP, but the mouse cares about all forms of money. So, and I can guarantee you, it is doing something decently for them, but it's not what it could have been because that no part of the comic industry is prepared for the new digital reality. I mean, if they had one thing I would have done, if I was Marvel, and I would have copied the DC Universe app, the ability to download and read books along with the shows, that would have been great. If you're on Disney Plus and you're looking at that and they had put up a thing that said, hey, right here, here's House of M, Here's I forgot the name of the vision book that some of this took me from. If you were able to click that and read it and learn more, that would boost great for the industry. That'd do great for their comics. But they don't do that.
Comics should be doing playlists.
You're down.
So you say comics should be doing playlists?
They should have been doing playlists. Man, if I owned Comixology, I would have made some playlists, some Marvel playlists. Then I would have ran ads similar to those old ads telling everybody and all over the place saying like, "Hey, you loving WandaVision? Want to learn the source material? Come to Comixology. Here's a playlist of things to read on Comixology." Simple. Super smart.
That would have made
it doesn't make that much money for Disney, but it will do great for everybody else to have more people coming in and learning about that stuff.
Would be interested if maybe your local comic book store may have done that too, both digitally and.
Well, they're not prepared for the digital reality either. So that's the problem. And you got a time where people aren't trying to come to the stores right now. Because it's still, as things are getting better, we're still in the middle of COVID, so not that many people's going out.
That's
so
true.
If I was a store, this is the time where I'll be reforming my plans because who knows when another something happens. Should have been ready for something before. And this is the time to get your business together, And it's not just be thinking about, wow, I hope that I hope that Valiant comes up with some special covers that I'm going to complain about getting, but I'm also encouraging them to do.
So, what I'm seeing from WandaVision is one, they are drawing from 1,000,000,001 sources that have already been touched upon, but also I see that the show may not be. It's people that are huge. It's YouTubers that are doing great on the show. Like the theories, the theories that we yell at because they're 9 times out of 10 they're wrong, but these guys are getting 80,000, 40, 50, 100,000 views right after.
They're making. You know what? There are many times that YouTubers are making more money off of doing a video about a book than the book makes.
That's insane to me.
Take like America Chavez. Take those books. They didn't hardly make any money. But all the videos out there complaining about America Chavez, they make way more money complaining about America Chavez than people reading America Chavez. That makes no sense.
Bro, so because you know how YouTube monetization is, so
yes, I do. And even then, with the way YouTube works, you still shouldn't have been making money, but you're making more than people publishing do.
But that's insane. So think about it. Your video complaining about America Chavez got you monetized because of the new rules, and you hit all the points YouTube has set out, and now you're making more money than Disney/Marvel is making off that book. That's insane, bro. That's kind of the off-kilter thing. Although I think at this point, like with Disney, they don't really care anymore. Like you said, I think they're just like, look, we got the IP. We're gonna make money.
The IP is making the money. It's also why look at the people they're picking. Thanks to Guardians of the Galaxy, they now feel like we don't have to even just stick to our big heavy hitters. We can do hey, let's take Miss Marvel, give her a book. Miss Marvel ain't a killer. It's not a big time book. It's not killing the numbers, but they look at her and they go like, nah, she could be like Guardians of the Galaxy and do some money for us. I mean, that's why they're giving America Chavez a book, a show, even though that cost them money, lost them money, didn't make them money. The character as an IP is worth way more.
And they can recoup all of it with the revenue off the streaming and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the merchandise.
And don't forget possible merchandise.
Yeah, the merchandise.
If people enjoy the character, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, she's got a game on PS5.
Or heaven forbid, a damn mobile game that is interesting. It's just so many ways that big and small. Here's my thing. Do you think, and I think I see this a lot, do you think sometimes small creators are trying to operate as large corporations when they really need to be thinking more like a small creator? Does it even make?
They all make the same mistake by not knowing their industry. They don't learn anything about how to operate as a business.
Okay.
They consider themselves small businesses when it helps them, but otherwise, they don't realize what they are.
Okay, so I'm a small creator, but I'm operating as
you're a small creator. You're like a really small creator. Yeah, I can barely making a dent. Barely making a dent.
Yeah, I'm barely making a penny.
Almost insignificant. Almost insignificant. Yeah.
Almost insignificant. Yeah, get your little jokes off. Get your little jokes off, little eyeglass man. But it's all good.
Jokes.
But because of that, I also now not just have I got the books out, and I'm going to do the next books, which I am going to do, but I have the YouTube channel. I have the second YouTube channel. I have podcasts now. I do coloring books, which tell stories or other that are inspired by in comics, things like comic book covers.
Right.
Why aren't other guys doing that type of stuff?
Well, I would say there's different paths though too, because technically the way your path is running is you're building a very strong personal brand. You're building a strong personal brand, which you can hopefully then flip over to a corporate brand. A lot of the stuff you're doing, those are avenues for everybody to take. They don't all necessarily need to take the exact same road. I'm like, everybody's got a different road. Right. But everybody should be should be researching their market. If you're decided that you want to do a story about a romance graphic novel about werewolves, you know what you might want to do? Check out how well romance novels are doing. Check out how well werewolves are doing in the market. Then find out who is that market. Who are the people I should be talking to? Who should I be showing? Who are the people who are going to want to see this? Because that's where a lot of people fail, is they don't know who. They're making it, even if you're making it for yourself, once it's made, if you're trying to sell it, you need to know who you're going to sell it to. I mean, and it doesn't matter if you're big or small, that's what you do. It's clear that that nowadays it's clear that even the big guys aren't really looking at their analytics. They aren't really checking out their market. Marvel, like if you just check the things that Marvel does, and it's clear that it's like they listen to the noise when people are loud, but they're also not checking the actual behaviors of people. They're not sitting there watching what do people actually pay for with us. We hear what people are saying, but what they're paying for. I mean, many of the loud voices that advocate for certain things in Marvel then don't purchase. We're going to go and sit around and throw a fit talking about, hey, y'all need to do a Squirrel Girl book. And then when I do Squirrel Girl, you don't come buy it.
So what's the point of doing Squirrel Girl?
Right.
Then again, Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, right. Right. But if I had actually watched and looked around and said, these people are saying it, but they're not picking up the books that she's in. So they don't actually want her.
Right.
Things like that. Nobody's doing their analytics. Nobody's checking. Who is this for? Or how they're promoting things. You can also tell that they're not really thinking about that either. Take the new Nubia book that's out. The promotion for that book is atrocious.
That's the one where she's in high school, right?
Yeah, for some reason. DC decided, they decided, hey, we're going to put her in high school. Her story doesn't really make sense, but whatever, it doesn't matter. This is a YA different universe version. But I'm talking about the way they promote the book, the way they're advertising the book.
I don't see any advertising.
One, I'm not sure who they know it's for. Like, it supposedly seems like it's YA, but there's no YA stuff in it. Knowing what YA is and what normally sells in the YA market, the things that draw people in the YA, there's none of that in that book. So who is it for? And it feels like it's for people freshly in college, learning about justice and things like that, and trying to get their own experience. Well, then that's who you should be advertising this to, and I don't see them doing that. I don't see ads at all. I don't see promotions at all. I don't see videos being made about this at all. All the stuff that's being made about it, though, are about people complaining about it, which I have to say again, not all promotion is good promotion. People complaining about it doesn't sell a book.
Yeah, that drives people away.
You know what I mean? And then there's the fact that, of course, the people complaining about it are direct market people, which this book isn't for them anyway.
Right. It's supposed to play in this Scholastic.
Right. So as even a small publisher, I would pay attention and be like, what did they do wrong? I don't want to do that. I have a book similar to Nubia. I know I should know my market, and I can do better than the big guys did with the same book if I pay attention.
Well, technically, one of the best-selling comic book companies is Scholastic, and they are murdering the industry right now.
But Scholastic doesn't count. People can't replicate Scholastic. Scholastic has a system that's taken generations to build, and they are their own distribution. They are their own publishing. They're their own community. Like you can never as a creator go, hey, I got a book. I can now have that book promoted to every school on pamphlets, to every child, automatic. I can set up video conferences, tours, and all that. You can't do that. Most publishers can't do that. Scholastic. So people should never try to do what Scholastic can do unless they're a big machine already. If I was Marvel or DC, I'd be trying to emulate what Scholastic does for our YA books. They don't do that. Once again, not doing it because they don't pay attention to what's really going on. They don't do anything like Scholastic's YA books.
Well, but that's kind of my point, especially with companies like that. It's like you said, Scholastic doesn't have to do the things that they're doing, but they seem to be doing the analytics and making sure that they're
no. Just because they're, once again though, they don't count. They're all tied into themselves. They are their own thing. They know who's at their place. They're the thing. They don't. Scholastic isn't sitting there looking out saying how well is Marvel doing on something. They don't need to know their analytics. They don't need. They need to look at the writer's scene because they are their own thing. They're their own world. So they just happen to sell comics in their world. But Scholastics is Scholastics. You know, not everybody can promote, do whatever they do because they don't have that. They don't have the system that's taken generations to build. You know, they are totally different. They're not in the general market. Scholastics is its own direct market. It's 10 times larger than the actual comics direct market.
That is true. That is true. So for the people that are trying to figure this out and are looking at it, obviously YA is one of the routes to go. What are some other routes?
If you are, this is where people screw up. Don't do YA just to do YA. Is your story YA? Do you know YA? Have you researched it? Is that what interests you? Because if you don't, you're going to come off as disingenuous and fake. And you're going to get a lot of criticisms that honestly, that's what DC and Marvel do wrong all the time. A lot of their books feel disingenuous and fake because they're not actually talking to their market. They're just getting into it because we heard there's money there.
So you have to come in. You really have to come in knowing what to do.
Yeah, you really have to come in. You just pay attention to what you want to do. What do you want to do? Then how do you do it? You know, take the steps. Don't just be like pooping out ideas because there's an idea and expect it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're doing that, then you're doing it as a hobbyist and you're doing it to have fun. So do it to have fun and don't care about it. But if you're trying to actually make it, if you're trying to actually have a company, if you're trying to actually have impact, then you need to do the work. No matter who you are, you need to do the work. That advice is the same no matter what level you're at. If you happen to be lucky enough to have millions of dollars in your pocket that you can use discriminately, if you do the research and stuff, you are way ahead of everybody else. You can kill it. You can buy yourself into these markets.
Right.
If you're that lucky.
Right. But if you're not.
But even still, you still need to do the same thing, which is find out what. Because if you go in and like, hey, I want to have the highest YA book around, and I went and I got Stephen King to write it, who don't know shit about kids, but he's Stephen King. Watch the book not sell.
Why is there murderous sex even in our book?
You know, you sit there and like, I'm gonna do this great YA story about this mom who's got tax problems. Watch it sell. It's like, that's not YA. That's not what they like. That's not what they're reading.
That's not going to sell at all.
It's like they gotta remember, YA is young adult. It's people just getting into their adulthood. It's late teens to early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
What do they want? What are they learning? What is going on in their lives at that time? That's what you make books about.
And if you don't,
what are they interested in that time of life? Go at that. That's what you do. You know, and if that's not in that space, if you're not trying to do that, do it. It's like saying I'm going to make books that are sci-fi, but I know nothing about science fiction. I just know everybody does. So I'm just going to make something about it, and then you can't be upset when people don't like it because you didn't make a true sci-fi book because you don't know anything about it. You know, you're different genius.
That's true. And that's kind of the problem. That I see as a problem too. And I'm throwing these things out here and I'm bringing them up because people don't know these are literally the conversations that we have every day when we're talking about the business. We're talking about strategy. When we're talking about how to move and how to move appropriately in this new world, not in the industry, in this new world.
I normally say just use some LSD.
That was the old
open your mind.
You know, the funny thing, I realized most of the cartoons we grew up on were basically made by people on LSD trips. And I'm wondering how that affected us now.
They were on drugs, not all were on LSD. That's called Mary Croft. They were heavily on LSD, but not everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry. Coke, a little cocaine, little heroin, you know, just the usual stuff.
Just to make it clear, we are clearly advocating for illegal drug use. You are clearly saying that will improve your life and make things better.
Well, that's what the certified preacher told us. He told us, hey, all we had to do is a little LSD. We really could have come up with some stuff.
Yeah.
But I digress. So DJ Hyjak,
Lawrence,
before we get out of here, what are some projects that you are working on, or can you even speak to them? Ooh,
I can't speak to any of them. I really can't. And then anything outside of that, you know. I mean, there's this thing called Sharkula. It's about a vampire shark. You know, it's the normal.
Oh, then isn't there also were shark or something like that too?
No, Sharkula. There is no were shark.
Okay,
vampire shark. Vampire shark.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. Well,
then there's Deadbeat. You know, the rapper serial killer. You know, sort of like Jason meets LL Cool J.
Such a cool idea. And quite scary all at the same time.
Yep.
So, if people don't know, DJ Hyjak works with me. Oftentimes, he's the guy that keeps me on point and focused on the task at hand. So, you will be seeing his invisible hand on some of the productions that will be coming out of the studio.
You literally will not be seeing my invisible hand. Why are you lying to these people? It's an invisible hand. They will not.
It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. I'm being metaphorical.
You just said they will see my invisible hand. That is just ridiculous. Why do you lie to these people?
Because I told them it's there. Because I told them it's there. So therefore, since I told them it's there, they can now look so they can see it. Just like in Predator.
They can't see it because it's an invisible hand.
It's only invisible because they don't know where to look. See? Invisible hand. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on the pod. We actually are going to probably do some more of these just because they're fun. And hopefully the people...
Let's see what everybody says first. Let's see what everybody says first. You know, they might be saying, don't bring that asshole back again.
Well, you know, they probably said that.
If they do say that, I'll just find out where they live.
Well, they said that about Jeff Thorne, and he's coming back, so he'll be back. You can't tell me what to do, people. Well, take that, buddies.
Yeah.
But, let's get out of here. Hey, Hyjak, how can people reach out to you on the internet and all that type of stuff on the social?
You can check out DJHyjak.com, or you can check out BigFatHero.com.
Big Fat Hero.
They'll bring you to the world of DJ Hyjak. Find mask and nerdy apparel. True blurred apparel, not like the blurred that wants to sue people who use the word blurred, because that's not a word everybody uses. But stuff for the black nerd in you.
There you go. All right, guys.
And my OnlyFans. And OnlyFans/DJ Hyjak.
Oh yeah, you do have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Quality feet pictures.
That's insane. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, go ahead and please give it the big thumbs up. If you guys don't know, the big thumbs up, the likes, they are the lifeblood of this channel, and of course the main channel. That's what the algorithm is recognizing. If you guys are new here, you just
also listen on your favorite podcast services. Give and make sure that you share. And drop some reviews here and there. That helps a lot for the podcast. There you go.
Give reviews, give drops, let people know. Comment, please share it all over the world. If you're going to subscribe, please subscribe. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the podcast. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach me at DKG72 on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook fan page, TikTok is David Gordon 72. If you really like what you're seeing and hearing from us, you can support on Patreon, DKG72 Comics. And of course, you can always purchase things like Black Love Chronicles, KWAME Hightower, The Man with No Name, all kinds of merchandise. They will be linked in the descriptions below. Hyjak, we will be doing this again. We will be talking about more stuff and different subjects, and we will...
that time, I'll be giving away free lap dances. Don't act like you don't.
The podcast is not responsible for the opinions expressed by DJ Hyjak when it comes to lap dances.
Yes, you already signed the paper.
I did not sign the paper.
Yes, you did.
You know what? This 4sight podcast, and I will holler at y'all later.
Go.